And I'm sure that, Rupert, you have no chance whatsoever of escaping each nuance of Omid Scobie fallout. And there does seem to be a kind of development in that direction today, in which he's written a piece in the iNews saying he did write the names in an early draft that was not official, that he didn't think was going to be distributed, but it was given to the Dutch translators, but without an official seal of approval, something. Does it make any difference to you? Do you feel that this takes the story on somewhat?
Well, somewhat, because if he'd admitted first up that, yes, there was a draft that went to the Dutch publishers, then it would have killed the story there and then, because we'd said, right, yes, it's an honest mistake. It wasn't meant to get published. Somehow that slipped through the net. But he didn't. He said, well, no, I have no idea how it got there. And there seemed to be a spotlight on the translators. So therefore you think, well, why didn't he? Because it might have been easy sometimes get on the front foot and say, look, I hold to rights here. I don't know how it happened, but yes, it did happen by mistake. But no, he was denying it. Now he's saying, yes, it got out there in a first draft. He wasn't sure how they got the first draft. You know, it's all a bit messy and sort of. And then he's now throwing in that article. He's sort of throwing it around saying, well, actually, it just throws into spotlight the lack of discussion about the racial issues within the royal family over historically, rather than necessarily about the allegations levelled at the King and the Princess of Wales. So, yes, I don't think it shows him in a particularly good light. I think it's as simple as that, Vanessa.
Let's bring Bobby Friedman into this, because we always wish we had a legal brain to dissect and deconstruct this for us, and we do, so that is fabulous. Bobby, you've been listening, I'm sure, to Omid Scobie and the general, I suppose, somewhat confusing explanations of how this leak, if that's what you think it was, could possibly have occurred. And I think most notable among the whole thing was the absolutely horrified response of the poor Dutch translator, who seemed to be a self-effacing, shy, modest lady, saying, "What? I'm just the translator. I just translate what's in front of me. I don't write it. I don't make it up. Oh my gosh!" And looked absolutely, terrified as she scuttled back into her house, never to be seen again. So, if there were to be legal repercussions in this, who would be for the chop, or who would be for imprisoning in old Chokey as a result of this? Who's done the wrong thing here, if anyone?
Well, I mean, that is in my typical lawyer way, I'll slightly dodge the question. I mean, it's quite complicated to work out, not least because obviously this took place in Holland, and I am not an expert on Dutch law. But look, I mean, I don't think it would be the poor translator who's responsible for this. It would generally be the author or the publisher who would be responsible. I mean, I have to say, from my non-royal expert perspective, it partly seems a bit confected, all of this. I mean, look, it was obviously a cock-up. I think we all knew that. Clearly, there's not going to be a translator who's going to start inserting the names of members of the royal family where you've got serious allegations being made. It clearly wasn't intended to be in there. That's why the book got pulped. As I always thought it was obvious that it was just a draft that got sent in error. And probably like any journalist, you try and put as much in your book as you can, and then the lawyers tell you to take it out. So it will be, as Rupert says, I can't see the royal family wanting to get involved in legal action over this. As I say, it would take place in another country. I know William and Kate did once sue over some photos of Kate sunbathing, but that's rather different. And it would rather raise the Streisand effect, because of course we're talking about it a lot, but it would help the story stay on the front pages. So it would be doubtless difficult. It would be probably subject to Dutch law, but I can't imagine the royal family want to do this very much for all sorts of reasons.
Thank you both very much indeed. Thanks so much to Rupert and to Bobby.